I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. When I tell you that it's hard, I just mean to be inside my brain. And I'm there 24/7, I can't get out of it.
As a huge Disney fan like all of you, this is the biggest dream come true I could possibly imagine for myself. Thank you all for making it possible and being excited.
Rachel Zegler's apology tour for the Snow White remake has begun. She's gone from a complete 180 from saying this.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago. Therefore, it's extremely dated when it comes to women being in roles of power.
To saying this.
The cartoon is so beloved. It's like a monumental moment in film history. The first feature-length cartoon movie.
All of a sudden, it's not this forbidden thing from 1937 that needs to be changed and fixed. Now it's a classic animated film, which is what we've been saying all along.
So, why does the new Snow White remake have so many people feeling embarrassed? And did Rachel Zegler's apology tour actually make things worse? Let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back. Today, we're going to break down what's been happening with Disney's Snow White remake, and we'll take a closer look at why Zegler's efforts to clear things up aren't really hitting the mark. What's really going on here? We're also going to chat about the movie's budget and whether Disney's new approach is a smart move or just a last-ditch effort to save the film. Stick around, because we'll be diving into how some PR missteps might be turning what could have been a hit into a bit of a mess. And if you enjoy staying in the loop on the latest entertainment news and reactions, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. Let's get into it.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time. Focused on becoming the leader that her father tells her that she can be. And she's really trying to find the courage to stand up to the evil queen and how to find her own agency and rule a kingdom. And she meets so many incredible people along the way. And maybe she finds love, maybe she finds friendship, but really what's important is that she finds her own voice. I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again.
Disney's 2024 has been quite the ride, with some major successes like Inside Out 2, Deadpool, and Wolverine. But it hasn't been all sunshine and roses. There have been a few major setbacks, including The Acolyte and Echo, and let's not even mention the negative reaction to that Mufasa trailer. It seems like Disney can't seem to get a break these days. For added heat, their Snow White remake trailer dropped, and the response was not pretty. People are giving it the thumbs down, calling it possibly the biggest flop Disney could face. However, imagine spending over $20 million on a movie that no one seems to want. Disney is calling this their most controversial project to date, and based on what we're seeing, that's not an understatement. Fans of live-action Snow White are furious about the changes, and the teaser trailer has become one of the most hated in history. Rachel Zegler, who plays Snow White, called the original film creepy and criticized its love story, which didn't sit well with die-hard fans. In addition, the movie replaced the 7 dwarves with computer-generated characters, which has made people feel as though it has lost its charm. The drama escalated when Rachel and her co-star Galato got into a heated argument over politics, which sparked calls for a boycott. Because Disney's budgets are out of control, fans doubt this film will make it to the box office. According to recent filings in the UK, the Snow White remake has already spent $210 million, of which some have been reimbursed by the UK government. However, this amount may not include all of the post-production work, visual effects, and marketing that must be done for the film, so the final total may be much higher. Rachel Zegler, the director of the upcoming Snow White remake, is at the forefront, attempting to patch things up after her initial comments about the original Snow White caused quite a stir. Since theaters also take a large cut of ticket sales, costs are rising and the box office return is declining, which just spells complete disaster. Disney is clearly feeling the pressure and has started what is being called an apology tour to try to fix things. Mission to appease fans who weren't happy with her criticism of the classic. You see, the original cartoon was released in 1937, and clearly, there is a lot of emphasis on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. So, we didn't do that this time. I believe I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. I'm being really serious when I say that I watched it once and then I rode the Snow White Scary Adventures ride at Disney World. A young child would have been scared of it and would never see snow again, so Ian undoubtedly put pressure on the beloved cartoons. It's like a landmark moment in the history of movies. It was the first full-length animated film to win honorary Oscars, and all of these incredible things that happened for that movie are what made Disney what it is today. Yes, as a devoted Disney fan, I feel like I see every release and opening weekend. When we look at the changes, it's clear that Disney is making significant shifts in their approach. At the 2023 D23 Expo, Rachel was vocal about changing the old story, expressing some clear feelings. It's like getting to show it to your best friends in a way that makes you say, "Can't you won't believe what we did," and it's been really amazing to hear their live reactions as well. It's just such an instant gratification that what we made is cared about so much, and that's a really wonderful thing. What's the word on the street? Well, despite Disney's lavish marketing makeover, the fans haven't forgotten Rachel's earlier remarks so quickly. Before the 2024 Expo, she had reservations about the original Snow White, but now she's all about praising Disney and emphasizing her love for the studio and its heritage. This stark contrast shows Disney's intent to reframe the narrative and present a more fan-friendly face through Rachel. Fan skepticism is evident, and the more Disney promotes this new positive image, the more some fans question its authenticity and how it fits with their own perceptions of the beloved tale. Online forums and social media are buzzing, but not everyone is buying into this sudden shift toward a more positive tone. There's a sense that the wounds from her first interviews are still fresh, casting a long shadow over the anticipated reception of the film. Rachel Zegler has finally addressed the recent backlash surrounding her Snow White controversies. Surprisingly, she has expressed regret for her earlier negative remarks. She clarifies that her initial remarks were not meant to seem ungrateful, especially as videos of her went viral. In fact, she delivered a speech highlighting her immense dream of portraying Snow White, emphasizing her long-standing admiration for the character. Disney is working hard to turn the tide, but the path to regaining fan trust may be more difficult than they had anticipated. We won't take this at face value, though some think her apology is related to recent reports speculating that the movie might struggle at the box office due to concerns about her likability. Others suspect her PR team may have planned all of this. And some find her frequent remarks concerning Disney of the original strange. "I'm a huge Disney fan, but note that just a few weeks ago she said, 'I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again.'" There is a lot of skepticism surrounding Disney's Snow White remake, with many doubting it can make even $200 million given the film's hefty $29 million budget. This skepticism paints a grim picture of potential financial success, or lack thereof, and puts the company in a difficult position because breaking even might require drawing in audiences at A. Disney's history with live-action remakes is a mixed bag. While films like Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast have won over audiences' hearts and wallets, others like Mulan and Peter Pan and Wendy have failed miserably to recreate the magic of their animated predecessors. This inconsistency adds even more uncertainty to Snow White's prospects. The question hanging over Disney's head is whether the allure of nostalgia and the real test will be whether Disney has succeeded in creating enough compelling reasons for moviegoers to choose the new version of the classic tale. This uncertainty is further fueled by the broader industry context, which shows that audiences are becoming more selective about what draws them to theaters in a streaming-dominated era. High ticket prices and the convenience of home viewing options mean that relying solely on curiosity may not be enough anymore. Today's deep dive into Disney's Snow White remake saga concludes with the roller coaster of Disney's big hits and misses in 2024, the controversy surrounding their latest project, and the big budget gamble they're taking despite the backlash. As the release date approaches, all eyes will be on those first weekend numbers to see if Disney's gamble pays off or if Snow White becomes another cautionary tale in the annals of cinema remakes. Please share your thoughts and predictions in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and hit subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest from Woke Informant. We have new content coming all the time, so you won't want to miss what's next. Clearly, Disney is in for a bumpy ride. Do you think that Snow White will defy the odds and charm its way to success, or is it destined to be a Noto fairy tale ending at the box office? Thank you for watching, and as always, stay awake. Rachel Zegler has finally addressed the backlash she's been receiving from Snow White, and you won't believe this, but she allegedly apologized for her offensive remarks. She claimed that she never intended to come across as ungrateful after those videos went viral, and she even gave a speech in which she said that playing Snow White is a huge dream of hers, and that she's always been a huge fan of Disney. But only a few weeks ago, she was saying almost the exact opposite. I was afraid of the original cartoon, and I think I watched it once before never watching it again. She even ends by saying, "I am the most grateful person alive, but I'm also keeping her." People in the comments had a lot to say, with many assuming that she was simply apologizing because recent sources have been predicting that the movie won't do well at the box office because of her unusual talent, and some people claim that her PR team planned the entire thing, while others say that her frequent changes are insane. I'm grateful for those moments because they made me feel like solid Teflon, saying that nothing can hurt me anymore because they've said the worst. This is what zero accountability looks like. Here's where they try to paint Zegler as a victim by putting the airhead Little Mermaid. A few months ago, Rachel Zegler, the actress playing Snow White in Disney's upcoming live-action remake, stirred quite controversy with her comments about the original animated film. She candidly stated in an interview, "I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once, and then I never picked it up." This admission, rather than endearing her to fans, has ignited a backlash that seems to have snowballed into a full-blown storm of criticism directed at her and the project as a whole. It's almost as if she inadvertently stepped into a minefield laid out by passionate fans who hold the original film close to their hearts. The original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, released in 1937, is more than just a beloved Disney classic, it's a cornerstone of animation history. It's difficult to imagine our cinematic landscape without this groundbreaking film, which was the first ever full-length animated feature. For many fans, this film represents a significant part of their childhoods, a magical escape that has stood the test of time. In stark contrast, Zegler's comments come off as dismissive, suggesting a lack of respect for the very film that made her current role possible. In a world where nostalgia is revered, her words struck a nerve, and many fans feel justified in their outrage. It's worth noting that Zegler's remarks have become a focal point for a broader discussion about representation and diversity within Disney films. While Disney has made strides toward inclusivity, the backlash against Zegler raises questions about whether the new generation of actors and filmmakers truly understands the legacy they are stepping into. Some fans feel that this new Snow White remake is less about honoring the original and more about pushing a modern agenda, which they see as undermining the magic that made the animated classic so special. The irony is palpable. Zegler, who now finds herself at the center of a social media storm, was attempting to pave a new path, yet has inadvertently contributed to a wave of backlash that is as heavy as it is unyielding. In the wake of her controversial statements, Zegler has become a target for hate and bullying online. This is a sad reflection of our current social media landscape, where public figures often find themselves under intense scrutiny and vitriol. Many fans have expressed their disappointment, not only with her remarks but also with Disney for casting her in such an iconic role. The original Snow White, with her innocence and charm, represents values that resonate deeply with audiences. To see those values questioned by the actress herself has left many feeling betrayed. It's a challenging situation, as Zegler finds herself caught between the expectations of her new role and the disdain of fans who feel that she is not honoring the legacy of Snow White. Adding fuel to the fire, Zegler eventually issued an apology for her earlier remarks. She expressed gratitude for the original film, saying she was the most thankful person in the world for the opportunity to portray such a beloved character. However, this attempt at damage control feels too little, too late for many fans. The damage has been done, and the trailer for the new Snow White movie has only amplified the tensions. With its release, fans were eager to see how Disney would reinterpret this iconic story, but many were left disappointed, feeling that the essence of what made Snow White special was lost in translation. As anticipation builds for what many are predicting to be a box office disaster, the question remains who is to blame. Some critics argue that the fans are simply being too harsh, while others maintain that Zegler's comments were genuinely offensive. The reality is that Disney's recent efforts to reimagine its classics have been met with mixed reactions, and this particular remake seems to be no exception. While the original Snow White continues to be cherished by audiences, Zegler's journey into this well-loved world has turned into a cautionary tale of how delicate the balance can be between honoring a legacy and attempting to reshape it for a new generation. As the release date approaches, all eyes will be on this much-anticipated project, and many are left wondering if it can withstand the scrutiny of both fans and critics alike. Will it fall victim to the same pitfalls as others in Disney's live-action lineup, or will it rise above the noise and carve out its own identity? Only time will tell. These past few days, and things are not looking good right now. In case you were unaware, the trailer for this film was released just a few days ago at D23. If you thought that fans didn't like the idea of a live-action Snow White remake, they certainly do now, as it has already become one of the most hated movie trailers ever, receiving over 1 million dislikes in less than 2 weeks. Additionally, this film already received a lot of backlash before the trailer was released, and the images showed us what appeared to be the Seven. Although they weren't actually the 7 dwarfs in this film, they were referred to as the 7 magical creatures or something similar. This somewhat resolved the problem in the trailer by making them resemble the original dwarfs from the animated film, but the problem now is that they are entirely computer-generated imagery, when they could have simply used real actors to play these characters. It gets worse when you learn that Rachel Zegler, who plays Snow White, has already stated how much she despises the original story. I think it's a really amazing story because her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. I'm running for president, and I'm getting ready for a very cheesy Snow White remake. If this actress has such disdain for the original tale of a male hero saving a princess, then why is she playing her? Give the role to someone who genuinely enjoys Snow White. I'm so sick of this Hollywood hubris. According to news reports, Disney has spent $9.3 million on Snow White up until July 31st, 2022, but the UK government has given them a 41. These filmmakers believe they can simply turn traditional classic Western folklore into woke narcissistic garbage. $1 million in taxes makes the film's total cost $168.2 million, but the production costs don't end there. They also need to account for post-production expenses, such as sound and visual effects editing, which can easily reach $100 million. Additionally, there will likely be a reshoot, so add an additional $50 million to the equation just to be safe.